Vorkath's name became legend, a whisper on the wind. To some, he was a savior, a mage who sought to change the world. To others, he was a tyrant, a conqueror who sought to bring all races under his iron grip. But to Vorkath himself, he was nothing more than a broken elf, trapped by the very power he had sought to wield. The world had failed him, and in turn, he had failed the world. But the legacy of Vorkath would not be forgotten. His name would live on, not as a symbol of unity, but as a warning. A warning that even the brightest light could be consumed by darkness, and that the road to hell was often paved with the noblest of intentions. For the fallen mage, there would be no redemption. There was only the endless march of death and the quiet, haunting memories of what he had once been. The shattered remnants of Vorkath's rebellion lay behind him. The elven forces had crushed them with ruthless precision, and the humans had abandoned them before the battle even began. He had fought for years to overthrow elven rule, believing himself a liberator, a visionary. He had once been a scholar, a seeker of truth, a man who wielded magic for knowledge rather than war. But truth had no place in war. His idealism had been met with betrayal, his allies choosing survival over loyalty, their blades turning against him in the final hours. "Traitors!" Vorkath spat, his voice hoarse. His fingers clenched into fists, nails biting into his palms. His breath came in sharp, shallow gasps as he stumbled forward, each step a struggle against his body's limits. Above him, the sky darkened unnaturally, clouds swirling in an unnatural pattern. The ruins of Carthul pulsed with unseen energy, the remnants of something ancient and powerful, something that whispered to him. He collapsed against the altar, fingers tracing the cracks in the obsidian surface. He had come here seeking answers, seeking power. The world had abandoned him, and in return, he would abandon the world. A whisper slithered through the air. "Do you seek vengeance?" The voice was neither male nor female, neither loud nor soft. It was everywhere and nowhere, a whisper that caressed his skin like a lover's touch, yet filled his mind with the weight of 1,000 graves. Vorkath's fingers tightened around the altar. "I seek retribution." "Then you must forsake what you were, and become what you must." The ground beneath him trembled, the stone shifting as if something vast and unseen moved below. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, forming words in a language older than the elves, older than the gods themselves. Vorkath's vision blurred as a burning sensation spread through his limbs. The ancient flame, the hidden power that had drawn him to this cursed place, was awakening. The air in the chamber thickened, pressing against Vorkath's skin as he carved the final rune into the stone. The ancient flame flickered wildly in the center of the ritual circle, an eerie green light casting monstrous shadows across the walls. As he whispered the incantation, the magic surged through his veins, searing cold, followed by unbearable heat. The chamber trembled. Then a voice echoed through the void. "You have come seeking what I once claimed." Vorkath's eyes snapped open. The chamber was gone. He stood in a vast abyss, the only illumination the infernal blaze before him. A figure took shape within the fire, a skeletal man, his form flickering between life and death. Balthazar. The Old Ones sealed it away, but I broke the chains, Balthazar's voice rasped. And the gods punished me for my ambition. The vision shifted, Balthazar screaming as the magic consumed him, his flesh withering, his soul shattered. The flame pulsed violently. Vorkath gritted his teeth. "You were weak," he snarled. "You lost control. You misunderstand." The fire surged higher, swallowing Balthazar whole. "The ancient flame is no mere power. It is alive. It will claim you as it claimed me." Vorkath staggered back as the vision shattered. He was once again in Carthul, his breath ragged. The ancient flame flared hungrily before him, its light now entwined with his own essence. He smiled. "Then let it claim me. I will wield it as no one ever has." The ancient flame burned away his past, leaving only the raw, unrelenting hunger for dominion. Vorkath gasped as he felt his very essence being torn apart. His flesh withered and tightened, his veins darkening with unnatural energy. The transformation was not just physical, it was deeper than that. It reached into his soul, stripping away the last vestiges of the man he had been. "You will never know peace again," the figure continued, "nor love, nor rest, but you will know power, and with that power, the world will kneel." Vorkath screamed as the ancient flame consumed him. When the light faded, Vorkath was no longer the man he had been. His once warm skin had turned pale as moonlight. His emerald eyes burned with a fevered, unnatural glow. His hair, once chestnut, had turned silver white, flowing like threads of mist. But it was his voice that had changed most. It now carried the weight of the void, a whisper of death itself. He flexed his fingers, and the air around him trembled. He could feel the fabric of reality bending to his will. Life and death were no longer concepts but tools, things to be shaped, broken, and remade. The figure before him knelt. "You are reborn, my lord, and with the ancient flame in your grasp, you will forge a new empire upon the bones of the old." Vorkath's lips curled into a smile, thin, cold, and utterly devoid of mercy. "I will not simply forge an empire," he murmured, lifting his hands. The very ground split open, and from the depths, the long dead rose to his call, shattered skeletons, warriors forgotten by time, bound now to his will. The power surged through him, intoxicating, limitless. The elves had crushed his rebellion, the humans had abandoned him. It did not matter. He would return, not as the leader of a doomed uprising, but as something far greater, a conqueror, a god of death. The night sky above Galtir burned green with necrotic fire as Vorkath spoke the words that would change Rhendora forever. "The world does not deserve freedom." His voice carried across the ruined temple, shaking the very air. "It deserves order, my order." A new war had begun. Not of kingdoms, not of men, but of life and death itself. And Vorkath would not stop until all of Rhendora knelt before him.